Greetings and salutations, humans of Earth, and all the beautiful beings around this galaxy. Red Wild Riders here, and this is the first of my Twitch, live on Twitch deck tech things that I'm doing. It's not going to be the last. I'm going to do one for all the decks that I play eventually. All the ones you could see on stream when I play Friday nights with some of my friends there. This first one that I'm doing here is obviously Torbran, Thane of Redfell. And you can see what he does. I've got him both here and up in the corner there. And his ability is super important to the deck. And every time I reference a card that's in the deck, I'm going to add the 2 damage from Torbran. Because the whole point of the deck is for Torbran to be on the battlefield for as long as I can get away with him. Okay? So this deck is built around the idea that Torbran needs to be on the battlefield to really make this work. However, can it work without Torbran on the battlefield? Sure. It's just it works a lot better when Torbran's on the field, and the clock that my opponents are on gets significantly shorter when Torbran is around. So, we want to have Torbran on the battlefield all the time. Well, need mana to do that. So let's take a look at the mana base. We're going to start off with 6 Fetchlands. We have our 4 regular old Fetchlands, and then we have Fabled Passage and Prismatic Vista. These are the only 4 of the regular Fetchlands that I could feasibly run in the deck, obviously, because it's mono red. And Fabled Passage and Prismatic Vista are both going to get me the lands I want. And what are those lands? Well, besides the one Valakut that's in the deck, there's a stack of 29 snow-covered mountains. 29 snow-covered mountains. That's all we need. We're not playing any non-basic lands except for Valakut and the Fetchlands, and the Fetchlands are all going to the graveyard, thinning the deck out. The deck really needs to get to 4 mana, obviously, so that I can cast Torbran. It needs to move pretty quickly along that line. But unfortunately, there's only so much room for mana rocks. So I run some mana acceleration. I'm sure everybody saw Extra Plane of Lens coming when they saw the snow-covered mountains, because that's usually how this works. You play the snow-covered mountains, you play the snow-covered lands, and you throw an Extra Planar Lens. So this way you get the benefit, nobody else does. Also play Cage Sun. Yeah, it's 6 mana, takes a long time to get there, but it is going to always work for me only. And if I get Extra Planar Lens out and then Cage Sun out, then I'm pretty much doing whatever the hell I please. And that's good. Last time I checked, right? Okay. So we've got those cards. We've got Soul Ring and Mana Crypt. Now, my Mana Crypt is really beautiful, as you can see. I own, I think, 3 Mana Crypts, or 4. But I have like 14 decks. So... I only have so many Mana Crypts. But I have Mana Crypt, I have Soul Ring. Those are my main accelerants in terms of like steady acceleration. Notice that neither one of them really helps a lot getting Torbran on the field. And when you see the rest of the deck, you're going to see that I really do need colored mana. Which is why I don't run things like Ruby Medallion. Okay. But I need red sources. Well, Neheb the Eternal can be a pretty decent red source in this deck. Okay, granted, I gotta wait till post-combat main phase, but most of the time that's irrelevant. It's not gonna really matter. This deck doesn't really attack very much. I mean, I can attack with Neheb, and it does work out very well, but I don't have to. And very often I don't want to. I just want to sit there and collect a little extra mana. That's all. This is one of the decks where Jewel Lotus is almost required. And it's required because turn 1 Torbran is pretty fucking nasty Not gonna lie. Okay. Turn one Torbran is everybody's in trouble. And that works out well for me. So I want to be able to play Torbran as early as possible. So Jewel Lotus does make an appearance in this deck. You're going to see I don't play Jewel Lotus in a lot of decks, but when I do, there's a reason why I play it. Another mana accelerator is obviously Dockside Extortionist, because obviously, why not? If it gets you 3 or 4 more mana for a turn, great. That works. And Leyline Tyrant's not really a mana accelerant, but he does let you sort of save up mana. And if somebody manages to blow him up, well, you know, that mana could go right to their face. And Leyline Tyrant deals the damage, so it's +2 because of Torbran. So that's really what I'm doing for mana acceleration. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it gets there. It's enough. And sometimes you got to go with enough because you have to have the rest of your deck doing stuff. So what does the rest of the deck do? Well, there's no reason to not play Infinite Combo in the deck. Kiki-Jiki works with a lot of the other creatures I play. I don't play a lot of other legendary creatures, so I have a lot of stuff to copy, and some of the stuff I copy it can get pretty interesting for my opponents. So no reason not to have Kiki-Jiki, but once Kiki-Jiki was in the deck, it's like, well, Zealous Conscripts just kind of needs to go in there to make sure that if I get both of them, I could just win the game on the spot and we can move on with life. So Kiki-Jiki, Zealous Conscripts. Now, some of the packages. There's a Chandra package. I run 4 different Chandras. Chandra Flamecaller, which I'm usually using either to discard all the cards in my hand or to create the elemental tokens. Chandra, Heart of Fire, who, well, pretty much use both her +1 abilities. Don't really need to use her -9 very much. Chandra Torture Defiance is just amazing. Exiling the top card of the library and casting that card is good. Chandra also allows you to not cast the card. And let's get the focus going on here. All right. Chandra also lets you do damage off of it, which can be, obviously 4 damage with Torbran. But also, +1 adding 2 mana to my mana pool seems pretty good. Dealing 6 damage to a creature for -3, that's alright. If I get to the emblem, I will play the emblem. That works. That's perfectly fine. I also play Chandra Fire or Kaladesh. In a lot of cases, I can get her flipped within a turn, which is pretty good. I don't play any way to really give her haste, but I'm not too concerned about that. If she gets killed, she gets killed. It happens. I play Carol Keep Disciples because why not? Extra damage to my opponents whenever I activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra Planeswalker. Yeah, seems alright. It's a 4/3/2. If I end up not having any Chandras or my Chandras are in the graveyard, it's a chump blocker. Can maybe take something out with it. And then I play Chandra's Regulator, and a lot of people think Chandra's Regulator is like, well, why are you playing that? I can't tell you how good paying 1 to copy an ability is. For some of those abilities, getting an extra card to play, doing extra damage, getting extra mana even, turning 1 colorless into 2 red mana is not that bad. It's actually pretty good. And discarding a mountain card or a red card to draw a card, not running a lot of artifacts, that, and Chandra's Regulator is red too, so that helps. But obviously I'm not going to discard that to Chandra's Regulator. I can't. There's only 1 copy. But realistically, most of my cards can be discarded to Chandra's Regulator to draw a card. So it does give me a little bit of card advantage, which is helpful. But also, copying abilities, like I said, Chandra Fire or Kaladesh has damage abilities that are great to copy. Chandra Torture Defiance, imagine copying that emblem. Really, any of these things you copy are great. Chandra, Heart of Fire. Discarding my hand, which if my hand's empty, it doesn't matter. Exiling top 3 cards in my library and be able to play cards exiled. So yeah, I'll discard 6 cards and maybe play 3 or 4 of them. Dealing the 4 damage to any target, fine. And Chandra Flamecaller. Oh, what's that? I get 4 elemental tokens that deal 5 damage each? Okay. I could do some pretty good things with this. So, and dealing X damage to each creature, X plus 2 really, again, very good. So I have my little Chandra package in here. It's nice, it's cute. And like I said, Chandra's Regulator really does a lot. It does a lot more than people think. So, now it's time for the Annoyance package, because this deck is called Punishment for Decadence, as you can see where I have the deck list on the screen. Punishment for Decadence, by the way, is the name of a Coroner album, which is amazing. I'm an old school thrash metal fan, so you're going to see some references. All of my decks are actually named after albums. So we'll have some fun talking about that as well. In any case, the Annoyance package. First, we start with Crawl Space. I really don't like combat in this deck. I don't want to attack with anything. As you're going to see, most of my creatures are kind of utility creatures. So if I don't want to really be attacking in combat, well, let me try to limit combat on me as much as possible. So Crawl Space is one of those things that could do that. Kazul also does a pretty good job of that. And if I make you pay 3, well, it's a little more Mana Denial. Mana Denial package is coming up very soon. So there's Kazul. Then there's Heatstroke, which just discourages combat all across the board. So everybody's worried about, oh, well, if my creature gets blocked, it doesn't matter, the creatures are dying. Everybody's dying. So it really changes how people think about combat. It's a really fun card. People are shocked as hell when you drop it. Like, wait, what does that do? Oh my god, it does that? No, that's really bad. It's really bad for me. Oh, it's good for me. That's what matters. Uphill Battle, a really odd card for red to have, but why not? Let's get it in there. Creatures your opponents play enter the battlefield tapped. Seems pretty good. Seems really, really good. Red does not normally get that ability, so must play it. Oh, when there's smoke, there's fire. Dun, dun, dun. Players cannot untap more than one creature during their untap phases. Once again, discouraging combat. Further discouraging combat, and the last card in that pile is Ensnaring Bridge. Because, of course, Ensnaring Bridge in a mono red deck, I'm not going to have a lot of cards in my hand. Well, look, Ensnaring Bridge works. Seems pretty good. Oh, why? Your creatures can't attack. That's kind of sucks. Also, punishment for doing stuff with creatures is Cursed Totem. I don't think any of my creatures have an ability that has an activation cost. I'm pretty sure that none of the creatures have one. So I'll just screw up yours then. This also prevents mana abilities. If it taps to make mana, that's an activation cost. Can't do it. So Cursed Totem is really powerful. And then there's the classic Stranglehold. Well, you can't search out your library anytime soon. I don't do a lot of library searchings. You'll see it when I get to it. And by the way, no extra turns. Stop that shenanigans. Not a lot of things in Magic that really do that, but Stranglehold does, and it's in there. And Leyline of Punishment. You're going to see players can't gain life is a big thing in this deck. I really have... I think it's about like 4 cards in the deck that prevent players from gaining life. Obviously, the bane of red decks. But also damage can't be prevented, meaning that, well, if you block with block a red creature with a creature with protection from red, seems like the protection from red's not going to matter very much, still dealing damage. It also makes protection from red not mean a damn thing to my deck, and makes protection from other colors not mean anything to anybody else, at least in terms of getting damage through in combat. So, no reason not to play Leyline of Punishment. As long as I don't draw it on turn 1, because that happens so often. I play another Leyline in here too, and it's stunning how often I Don't get them in my opening hand, but get them on turn 1. Now for the mana denial package. Well, if you're going to tap mana on another player's turn, better get ready to not have that land. And you know what? I'm going to give you a reason to not want to tap mana on other players' turns. Well, if you want to leave that mana untapped, it looks like you can take some damage. You know? That sounds pretty good. And oh, wait a minute. If you have untapped lands at the end of your turn, you got to sacrifice one. Yipes. That's a problem. See, I don't want people countering my spells if I can get away with it, right? Obviously, it's mono red. Is mono red. This is mono red. Here's why my only non-basic land that stays on the battlefield is Valakut. Because I'm going to Ruination the board, and my goal in that is to try to make everybody miserable for a little while not really harming me at all. So, mana denial package, why not? It's red. Now for the damage package. This is the important stuff. This is where Torbran really comes into play. Hey, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, take 4. And by the way, no more life gain. I am so sad I do not own a copy of this card yet. I am getting one very soon. But once again, opponents can't gain life. And at the beginning of upkeep, beginning of my upkeep, everybody take 4, except for me. So Roiling Vortex hits me, Quakebringer doesn't. It also triggers if it's in my graveyard and I control a giant, but I don't have any giants in the deck, so I'm not too worried about that part. But opponents can't gain life, and hey, everybody takes 4 at the beginning of my upkeep. Seems pretty good. Then there's Roiling Vortex. Beginning of each player's upkeep, take 3. And if you didn't spend any mana to cast that spell, that's a shame. You're going to take 7. And look at that, shut off life gain too, once again. Like I said, recurring theme. Now let's get on to some more conditional damage. Oh, you want to play a non-creature spell? Yeah, take 4 most likely, because I'm going to try to get you renowned, dude. Try to make that happen. And look at that. If you want to activate abilities that aren't mana abilities, that looks like you're taking 4, buddy. And if you want to target my stuff, looks like you're taking 4, buddy. And if you want to play creatures, looks like you're taking 3 there, buddy. And once again, not gaining life either. Oh, you want to play lands? Take 4. Oh, you want to have non-basic lands? Take 3. Sensing the theme yet? This is punishment for doing things I don't want you to do. And then there's Price of Progress. Well, take lots of damage if you control lots of non-basic lands. Lots and lots of damage. And the Festivities. Well, everybody takes 3 around the table, and you creatures and planeswalkers too. Yeah, it seems alright. Volcanic Torrent, I get to Cascade, and then deal damage to each creature and planeswalker my opponent's control. Also seems pretty damn good. Goblin Chain Whirler enters the battlefield. Each opponent, each creature and planeswalker takes 3. Sounds good. Chandra's Incinerator. Named after Chandra, does not go in the Chandra package because it doesn't need Chandra to operate. But hey, whenever a source I control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker that player controls. And hey, if I deal a lot of damage in a turn, I can get it down for as cheap as 1. Single red mana. Sounds good. Very, very good. Oh, you got non-flying creatures that want to attack me? Well, take 3. Have that creature take 3. They better be big dudes. And look, I dealt excess non-combat damage to a creature or a planeswalker? Yeah, I'm going to deal damage to other stuff too. With Toroth. And this works when anyone deals damage to a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Doesn't have to be you, and it's always Torolf dealing the damage. Torolf eats removal spells, no lie. As soon as he hits the table, they want him dead. Because there's going to be a lot of damage going around. There's going to be a lot of damage going around. And then, of course, we have Hazoret, who can deal damage to each opponent, take 4. And, hey, it's indestructible. And most likely I'm going to have 1 or fewer cards in hand, so I'll be able to block. And, yep, seems pretty good. Creature removal and player removal. And then, of course, what mono red deck would be complete without Furnace of Wrath? And its big brother, Fiery Emancipation. We'll just double and triple that damage. Seems alright. Seems pretty good, I think. So we have a lot of damage. Couple of last things before we wrap up. First of all, whoa, almost dropped something here. First of all, let's talk about getting some cards in our hand. Well, Sensei's Divining Top obviously is going to help us process through things. Always good. Imperial Recruiter can search up one of our damage-dealing creatures. No reason not to play him in a mono-red deck. Hey, I'll take a gamble sometimes. Early in the game, it works out really well. Late in the game, it sucks, but discard it to Chandra's Regulator or something. Getting Spectacles not that hard in this deck, so I'll be lighting up the stage for 1, and it gives you plenty of time to cast those spells. So it's good. Faithless Looting for obvious reasons. Reforge the Soul for what I hope are obvious reasons, and the, of course, better version, Wheel of Fortune. Yep. Everybody can discard your hand and draw 7. That's fine. I'm discarding nothing most of the time. And the last package are the removal spells. Or pseudo-removal spells or whatever. First of all, we do have Chaos Warp in the deck. Obviously, it's mono-red. We need Chaos Warp. We don't have many ways to deal with enchantments. So Chaos Warp will have to do. Then there's Vandal Blast and Shattering Spree, which we know what they do. Destroy the artifacts. But not my artifacts. That's the important part. Yours. Counterspell Protection, Counterspell Protection, and Counterspell Protection. I don't want my stuff being countered, please. I'm playing mono red. Leave me alone. Let me do my things and burn everybody to hell. Because that's what I wanted to. So yes, that's a very quick tour through my Torbran deck. It's a very fun deck. My opponents do actually enjoy playing against it, believe it or not. I frequently they're frequently like, oh, your Torbran deck's a lot of fun. It lets players do things. It just makes you pay for them. And something that's sounds like a good game of Commander to me. And if I start knocking you off one at a time, well, shit happens. It's how we play the game. Right? So, the next deck tech I'm probably going to do is Kozilek. I have a Kozilek deck tech up on YouTube, but I did it live and YouTube sucked for dropping frames. So much crap dropped out of that video. There's cards that, that when you watch the video, it's like, oh, there was a skip there. I hope you didn't miss any cards. Oh, I missed some cards in there. But I'm definitely going to do something with this kind of format again, where, I have the commander card in the corner, have my little setup over here with my commander card, and show you all the cards in the deck. And yeah, we'll do this again. Probably, I think I'm going to do it once every other week. So every other Tuesday, Deck Tech Tuesdays. Hey, sounds good. Anyway, that's it for me. Red Wild Rider signing off. See you all soon. Peace. I'm out.